Come episode 6, Sal and Sophia team up to align the powers that they have to get Oz.
It's unthinkable. The man that she was raised to believe is their #1 enemy. He's so warm to her and ironically fatherly. Do you want this chopped?
Sure.
I always thought of it as a father making a grilled cheese for his daughter late at night.
When he finds out what happened to Nadia and Taj, his world falls apart. Sophia comes in and kind of rescues him from that pit of despair and gives him purpose again. The only thing he wants to do is kill that guy.
It's a great strategic tactic. It puts Oz on his back foot. They're circling back near where Oz grew up in Crown Point. It's a good place to hide because sadly, no one in the city seems to care about Crown Point.
Now you all right?
Oz is so despicable. You kind of given up hope of having any sympathy for him. And then you see him with his mom, and you see him so delicately and gently pull her out of the water. Here was an opportunity to really get to the crux of what their relationship was about.
I need you to help me. You gotta help me die.
She has to tell him that she realizes what's going on.
Say you'll do it. You mean it. Because you love me.
All right. I'll do it.
The helplessness of that for anyone, but for a woman like that, it's just horrifying.
Put the blame on me. Put the blame on me.
The reprise of the music is something that Matt came up with. They both want to go back to an earlier part of their lives, and obviously they can't. The close-ups keep you out of the realm of reality. It kind of keeps you in the world of fantasy, even though there's the reality of his dirty fingers that you constantly see, which is, I think, a really great detail.
That reminds me of Paulie's Diner, don't it, Ma?
When they come down to sit and have the breakfast together, there was this sense of a routine.
Ma, we ain't gonna be here much longer. Not with all the cash we got coming in. Ain't that right, Vic?
Oh yeah, big money.
The writing of the scene, that was purposeful to kind of lull us into a sense of calm, like, are we watching a family discussion?
Thank you, sweetheart. You're a good boy.
Victor feels very connected to Oz and very connected to Frances. They're his new makeshift family. He's hardened a bit, carrying a gun, and he meets Squid again. He is a bad guy, always watching Victor.
Yo, where you getting your money from, Victor?
He brings up Frances. He brings up knowing that he saw this older woman. He could end up harming Frances, and he can end up harming the operation, end up telling Sal and Sophia where they are, and Victor cannot let that happen. When Victor tries to go to Oz, Oz is not available emotionally, so Victor knows he has to take care of the Squid problem by himself.
Where your people at?
That scene, it's not covered so much in close-ups. It's a little bit wider, because you kind of want to see the relationship between the two. But the thing was, when does Vic turn to the dark side?
He gets to that situation and it's not going the way he planned at all. Very quickly, he has to make a very big decision, and it's a huge turning point. There's really no going back now. He's taking the life of someone that he's known for years and years and years since he was a child. I'm sorry. And he sees him dying in front of him. That's not an easy thing to process at all.
And then Victor goes to Oz. There's a really beautiful, lovely, quiet moment between them.
You've done the right thing. Protected those you care about.
I think it's a really beautiful scene. Oz sort of softens up and is there for him because he knows that Victor needs that.
That actually, I think, is one of our darker moments.
It gets easier.
And it's a little bit like, welcome to this life. And the fact that he says it gets easier means that you're going to kill more and more people and you'll stop feeling what you're feeling right now. It was important to me to have Eve and Sophia meet because I always felt like that dynamic was really intriguing. Eve has always been a little afraid of Sophia and knew some of the women that died and presumed that Sophia is the one who killed them.
What? Didn't recognize me?
I don't even know how I would have approached the character had that scene not be there, because it's such a sort of deconstructed version that you get to see of her that suddenly everything else has context.
Sophia feels so free at this point that I think she looks at Eve with judgment in terms of like, how sad for you that you still have to perform, that you still have to pretend to be this thing.
It was a very long scene, 5 pages, and we really wanted to make it as dynamic as possible. So we used the space as best we could, and we kept it moving, and we gave Kristen a reason to move, which kind of worked with the dialogue and with what she wanted to do in the scene.
Dressing like this, is this for you or your client?
Depends.
Oz ever seen this version of you?
Sophia gets to see Eve in a way that we've never seen her before. Completely raw, real. There's no role play happening. So she's definitely attempting, I think, to present as though this is going to be an honest exchange, while there is still part of her that's going to try her damnedest to find her way out. Those women meant nothing to you. They were family to me.
You still think I'm the hangman? He never told you? My father killed those women. Oz knew.
And that is the turn in the scene where Kristen actually confronts her face to face for the first time. And then they finally start talking to each other.
It's quite a surprise to Eve that she's been betrayed by Oz. And I think there's this very quick recalibration as to how then to handle Sophia. Because if he's willing to throw me under the bus, then what am I doing protecting him?
You were his alibi. You knew. Not at first, but yeah. Just leave my girls alone. That's why you asked me here, to save them from the hangman. That's not who you are, right?
Eve and her girls, maybe the strongest family unit we have on the show.
It breaks Sophia's heart when she realizes that Eve has more of a family than she ever will, and I think it really hits home her own loneliness, and it catches her.
And I think when I see that vulnerability, there's something about the woman in me that has a moment of compassion. If I take her at her word and she isn't the hangman, then she's been no more used as I've probably been. So that puts us in the same boat.
It's 2 women from sort of different sides of Gotham coming together and realizing something about Oz, having a connection and a bond.
Throughout this show, they have been pitted against each other, but ultimately understand all we've got is each other as women in this sort of world.
Crown Point.
You deserve your shot. But where you got that information?
It'll stay between us.